everyone. I'm Tionni, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 45 of Two Tickets, One Theme. I'd love to introduce my wonderful, sleepy looking husband, Jonathan.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Give me some energy, Jonathan. Hi, everyone.
That was all the energy I could have.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Well, I don't know if Jonathan's excited about April, but welcome to the month of April. This month, we're diving headfirst into the adventure genre and dusting off some classic, chaotic journeyman gems. And we're kicking it off with a brain rot masterpiece you simply can't stay mad at: Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. John, are you ready to go on a most excellent adventure?
Yes, I am. Let's do this.
Let's do this. You can't say it's most triumphant.
Right. I was trying to remember all the stupid
I
words
hope
they
it's
said.
not a heinous experience. What else?
Oh, man.
It won't be a bogus journey. Ha.
Yeah, that would have been funnier. Nah, they're both funny. Now we'll do a quick rundown of facts about a movie in a segment we call Movie Trailer. Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure is a goofy sci-fi adventure film that was released on February 17th, 1989, and it was directed by Stephen Herrick and written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon.
It is rated PG and has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 83% critics and 75% audience. Big numbers for Bill and Ted. I mean, I think that's pretty good. The last movie we did was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, and this is definitely higher than that. Are you surprised, Jonathan?
I'm definitely surprised that the audience score is lower than the critics,
Yeah.
especially because of my critique of this movie. It's definitely a fun movie. It's
Don't
you'll
don't
see
don't
my
do
you'll
too
see what my
much.
rating is, my review is in
Right.
the end. But I'm excited to talk about it. So let's just leave it at that.
I'm a little surprised by the 75% because you would assume that a movie this dumb would be more revered by the audience than the critics. Like, what did the critics see in it to make it be like an 83?
Maybe
That's
like the scores
interesting.
get like kind of updated as more and more people rate it, and
Maybe
there's different things that people probably didn't like about this movie that people loved during its time. I
during
don't
the
know.
80s, right? There's one scene that probably wouldn't be PC today
Right?
at all.
Was
Uh, Here's the synopsis of the film. Bill and Ted are high school buddies trying to start a band, but they are about to fail history, which would send Ted to military school. A traveler from the future steps in to help, giving them a time machine so they can collect historical figures and save their grade. Now it's time for a segment we call Showtime, where Jana and I take you through the film scene by scene. If you haven't seen Bill and Ted yet, please consider watching it before we go through the plot. This is your official spoiler warning. But before we jump into the plot, we're kicking things off with a fact segment. In this section, we dig up the wildest and most interesting facts about the movie. Today's fact segment is called Bill and Ted's Time Travel Tidbits. Say that 5 times fast. Go, Jonathan.
Bill and Ted's Time Travel Tidbits. Bill and Ted's Time Travel Tidbits.
Boo!
Bill
Ruined
and
it.
Ted's Time Travel Tidbits.
It's okay. Stop. John will start with the first fact.
Okay, so in the original script, the time machine was a 1969 Chevy van. The filmmakers thought that was too similar to 1985's Back to the Future, so they changed it to a phone booth. And were reportedly unaware that Doctor Who uses a police telephone box as a time machine. In addition, originally, the plot was to have Bill and Ted visit and accidentally cause all of history's greatest tragedies, including the sinking of the Titanic and the crash of the Hindenburg.
Do you think that would have been too serious? I feel like that would have been kind of messed up if they somehow caused the Titanic to
This,
crash into the iceberg.
I mean,
I don't think that would have been funny.
these are questions that I actually kind of have when we're watching this film to begin with. So I don't think it would. I actually think it would have made sense, but
Right.
but it's a completely different story because we're talking about a history report involving historical figures.
Right. They made it more light. Principal photography was completed in 1987. As we know, this movie came out in 1989, but the film's original financiers, De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, went bankrupt. The film was in danger of being dumped onto cable television until Nelson Entertainment bought the rights in 1988 and released it in 1989. Thank God for Nelson Entertainment.
Yes, thank God.
So it would have never happened. Well, it would have been straight to TV.
What a
So,
shame would have been.
right.
Writers Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson wrote the script by hand on notepaper during a series of meetings at local coffee shops. They finished in 4 days. The 2005 box set, Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Collection, features some of their handwritten notes.
I have a question to ask you, Jonathan. How come you never bought me Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Collection?
Uh, I was gathering up my money for the Nightmare on Elm Street box series.
I already have two. I have two Nightmare on Elm Street
Right.
box sets.
You
But you
wanted
can give me
it,
the.
what, 4K?
I mean, hopefully they have the 4K version by now for this excellent collection, because
Hopefully.
obviously 2005 box set is not 4K.
I'll cross my fingers.
um, In a 1991 interview, Ed Solomon said the characters of Bill and Ted were originally envisioned as 14-year-old skinny guys with lowrider bell bottoms and heavy metal t shirts, who were despised by the popular kids at school. Casting Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter changed the filmmakers' images of the characters. Once you cast Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, who look like pretty cool guys, that was hard to believe. Do you think they look like pretty cool guys?
Yes, but I was just like, man, how many times do they have to rewrite the story? I mean, 14-year-olds changing them to like almost like going into adulthood.
Yeah, they're definitely about to graduate high school.
We're
They
also
look like
talking about
men.
we're also
Yeah.
talking about what kind of like adventures they're going to have going back in time.
Yeah, I think that I read that they were Keanu was 22, Alex was 21, so they were early 20s.
And they definitely can't play 14-year-olds.
Right. And yes, to me they look cool. And they also, you could tell that they're not like, even though they're really dumb, nobody seems to bully them. They might laugh at them for how dumb they are, but they're
Right.
not like, oh, look at these. There's no scenes where they're being bullied. So
I mean,
they're definitely considered cool in their own way.
During their time, people definitely gravitated to characters like them, the way they look, the way they act, and Keanu Reeves is cool in any character he plays.
He really is. Like I like sometimes I'm not even sure how good of an actor he is. I'm not trying to shade Keanu. We all love Keanu.
Right.
But he's just him and we love it. We love him for that. So he can do what he wants pretty much. I am an FBI agent.
I mean, we have him as.
That was a quote from Point Break. And he literally.
I mean, I love
that.
all the movies he's been in. Honestly, like
yeah.
I mean, Matrix, Constantine. We're talking about.
I have a line from Constantine.
I mean, like, again, I'm gonna be pretty harsh with this movie, but I actually do like.
Oh, you're gonna be harsh with the movie.
I'm gonna be pretty
Spoiler
harsh with
alert,
it, but
everyone.
I do like the movie. Just keep that in mind.
Jonathan, are you ready to get into this plot? This
Yes.
very deep, very layered plot.
It's yes, it's gonna be
deep as hell. Like so many different interpretations of this movie. Let's start it off, Jonathan. It gets real fast.
It's gonna be like something else, right? Something out of this world.
Okay. So the credits start. It's actually not out of this world.
I know, but I actually meant that, like,
Okay.
So the credits start. It's kind of crazy stuff that happens in this movie.
The credits start. I just call it weird futuristic space-like credits. I don't know how to explain it, but I come to the conclusion it's some orb-like futuristic elevator that is arriving into this futuristic world. And I mean, it's still Earth, but it's the future. And I like how they show the future in this movie as just like one room. We only are in this one headquarters. We don't go outside, nothing. Low budget. It works, whatever.
That's one. I mean, I feel like it could be debated that it might not even be Earth.
Okay, well, we're not doing that today. So we meet.
We never see the outside of it.
God, we're never gonna get through the first scene.
Fine.
Okay, so we're gonna get into this theories on this movie.
No, I mean, this is my thoughts on it.
Okay, we meet Rufus, played by legendary comedian George Carlin. He introduces San Dimas, California of the future. He explains that in San Dimas in the future, everything is clean, even the dirt is clean. There are even excellent water slides in the future. Bowling averages are up and mini golf scores are down. I'm not sure why that was significant, but that's what he said in his monologue. He talks about the two great ones and how they are on the wrong track in the past, present, whatever. So Rufus was tasked to steer them in the right direction. At this moment, we cut from Rufus. We go to Bill and Ted. Bill is played by Alex Winter, and Ted is played by Keanu Reeves. And they're playing the guitar very badly. They are not good musicians. They introduce themselves by saying, I'm Bill S. Preston Esquire, and I'm Ted Theodore Logan, and we're the Wild Stallions. And Jonathan, how are the Wild Stallions spelled? How do they spell wild?
Oh man, they spell wild WYLD and stallions
That
STALLYNS.
makes it cooler.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
I mean,
Uh,
if you pronounce it, I guess you would try
you
to
would
pronounce it
pronounce it
wild
with
stallions.
Y's, right?
You think that's how you would read it?
Right. And then they're playing so poorly and loudly and hard that they blow out their amp, so then they can't even finish what they're doing, whatever
Wow.
it is that they're doing. I just
It's
want to get into their wardrobe because I think it's very important to the characters of Bill and Ted. We just like if you've seen this movie in the 80s, 90s, coming up as a teen, you always remember their style. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cute like combination that they put together. So
yeah.
Ted is wearing a white t-shirt. I never really knew it was on the t-shirt because he has a black vest over it. But it's the picture is the cover photo for Van Halen's "Why Can't This Be Love" single that was sold during the Van Halen 5150 tour, and it is very popular with Van Halen fans in the late 1980s. It was Sammy Hager's first tour with Van Halen after replacing David Lee Roth. Just in case you wanted to know it was on a shirt. And then he's wearing black shorts. This is the most interesting part. He has like sweatpants under the shorts that are like rolled up to the knee. So that's very different. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that, but I wasn't living in the 80s
I
like
wasn't even paying
that.
attention
So,
for that.
right, maybe it was in a, yeah. And then he then has another layer with a red hoodie around his waist. Bill is simply wearing a purple button up shirt. Underneath that, he has a crop top, which was definitely something men did in the 80s. And I say bring it back like Ezekiel Elliott. Come on, Jonathan. And then he's just wearing some like acid wash blue jeans. And they're both sporting their high top Converses. Jonathan, do you like these outfits?
I will never wear a crop top ever.
Jonathan, I cannot wait to put you in a crop top.
The only people that wear crop tops are the people that really want to make sure people see their abs.
Right, that's the way you can show the work that you've
But
done without fully taking your
I'd
shirt
rather
off.
be
That's what
I'd
girls
rather
do.
I'd rather be shirtless than wear a crop top.
So that's how.
No
Okay.
thanks.
Okay.
But like
If it becomes the fashion again, you might.
I mean, wow. I mean, this guy's wearing a whole bunch of layers. There's like waist,
Right.
uh,
Ridiculous.
a hoodie, sweatpants, and shorts.
Right.
That's
And then
funny.
he's wearing a vest
I-
and a t-shirt.
I never paid attention for that.
Right. All right, we get a title card. It's San Dimas, California, 1988. So we are in the present. Bill and Ted's goal is to be as good as Eddie Van Halen. That is their idol. They want to play as well as Eddie Van Halen, and they also want to get decent new instruments. But Bill is like, he seems to be. They're both stupid, but Bill seems to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a dream, right? And it seems like this dream just started because they're just learning they're just learning how to play the instrument.
Right, and I don't even know if
So-
they're learning really. Who's teaching
So they
them?
have
How are
all-
they learning?
They have all these equipment blowing an amp as if they've been doing this for a long time. They just started and they're thinking they're just gonna be magically good. And where did this dream come from? They're about to graduate high school, so they should be thinking about their future. They're like, you know what we should do? Screw everything else. Let's just become rock stars. This would be easy.
Right. And Bill says they also need a triumphant music video to go along with it. But Ted points out smartly, we need to know how to play the instruments. Like us just making a music video and getting new instruments is not going to change the fact that we still don't know how to play. And that was very smart for Ted to say. He doesn't say much that's smart.
Right.
Again, I said Bill is the smarter of the two. But Bill says that that's why they need Eddie Van Halen and a good music video because that will help them play better. Okay.
They're like children. It's
They
crazy.
really are. And in that moment, they realize they are late for school. So, fact, in the film, Bill and Ted claim that they need I don't know why I said Edward Van Halen, in their band to make it better. After the film was released, he jokingly said he would have joined their band if they had asked.
Oh, that's
Aw, Eddie Van Halen,
You know,
how sweet.
nice. Just with that storyline, it actually makes sense that they're supposed to be 14-year-olds, or originally supposed to be.
Because they
14-year-olds.
sound stupid.
So
Like,
they
really,
sound stupid,
like,
and they have these
pipe dreams.
these like hard dreams, right? You know, kids dream hard. They think they could do anything. Like, oh, I can make the NBA. I could, and they don't realize that very few are successful.
All we need
compared
is
to all the
Eddie
people that
Van
are trying.
Halen to help us play, and will be
Like
successful.
you
Like,
need, there's so much that has to go right to be a successful musician.
right. So Ted is being asked. We're in the classroom now, history class, and Ted is being asked questions by his teacher, Mr. Ryan, played by Bernie Casey, and he's failing all these answers miserably. Like Mr. Ryan's going through different questions, like who's this, who's that, what did they do? He specifically asked about Napoleon. Ted has no idea who Napoleon is. He just says some dead guy, right? He says like a dead guy,
Yeah,
a short dead guy. And then he's
right.
like, "Who's Joan of Arc?" And he's like, "Oh, isn't that Noah's wife?" So like he
Joan
has
of Arc.
no idea
Oh
who
man.
he's talking about. So Mr. Ryan obviously is disappointed because he's realizing like they are not able to learn anything in his class. He wasn't able to teach them anything in the class that would stick. So after he dismisses his class, he keeps Ted and Bill back. Like he needs to let them know like, what have you learned in my class? Have you learned anything? And they continue to prove to him that they have learned absolutely nothing. So he tells him like, look, you flunked every section of my class, and you will need an A+ on the final oral report to pass this class. They will flunk the entire class if they don't excel on this oral report. He tells them the report better be something very special
All
to
right.
get an A+ on it.
So I have a few comments about his
Oh yeah,
class.
here's history teacher Mr. Manzano. Go ahead.
I'm not sure how history was in high school during this time, but whenever we have a history class, it's very focused on one topic or one section of history or one like or it has to have like some type of like it has to have a focus, right? It
Like
has
in
to have
sixth grade, I
like
learned world history. Like
right.
we did world history.
And even for that, it would be certain time periods.
Right.
But with this project, it seems like throughout the whole year they're all over the place, and they're talking about all different types of
Joan of Arc,
historical figures. We go to Socrates, Joan of Arc,
Sigmund
Billy
Freud.
Billy the Kid,
Right.
Sigmund Freud. I mean
Beethoven.
Beethoven, Abraham Lincoln. They're really all over the place. Genghis Khan.
You definitely like when you learn American history, that's like a whole class. Like you don't do American history, but let's also talk about Genghis Khan.
Right.
That doesn't, yeah, that
It
doesn't
has to
happen.
have some type of focus,
Right.
and this seems like it's all over the place. It's world history, U.S. history. It's philosophy. It's
Music
just
history.
musical history. It just seems kind of like I don't know
Well,
disorganized.
Jonathan clutched his pearls during the movie when he heard all these different history
And
sections.
another thing about it too is just I'm thinking to myself like they should fail no matter what. I don't care. I don't care if they have one final project they could redeem themselves. If they haven't learned anything throughout the course, and they probably didn't do any of the assignments, they probably failed all the tests. Telling me this final project is gonna erase all that. No, they should have failed. They should fail.
Charlie, you're such a tough teacher. When you see their final oral report, you're not going to be impressed. You're still going to fail them. Would you
Yes.
at least give them a C?
No.
Dang. After class, Bill and Ted talk about what they're going to do for their oral report while Ted is carrying a stack of books for no reason. Jonathan commented, like, why does he have like 20 books in his hand?
Right. And
He
you
has
know
to
you know
read
why?
all of them.
You know why? Because the history throughout the whole school year is all over the place. That's why.
That's why they had to take out all the encyclopedias. The assignment requires them to show how all of the historical figures would view San Dimas in 1988. That's kind of a silly project, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? We're talking about talking about all the historical figures. What do you think about this one place that they live in?
I guess mostly
I
like
mean,
modern
I
day.
think I think most people from history, if they were to live in today's world, they'd be like, "What the is this?" Every
Well,
direction they look,
definitely 2026. I mean, come on, of
right?
course. Bill declares that they are in danger of flunking most heinously tomorrow.
Heinously,
Most
these
heinously.
dumbasses are using this word heinously.
Right, right. So fact, Alex Winter has claimed that he gets two types of letters from teachers. Positive ones from history teachers for encouraging students to learn about history, and negative ones from English teachers for affecting the way students speak.
Nice.
um, okay, so we go to Bill's young ass stepmom, Missy, played by Amy Stoach. She picks him up from school, and Ted says she's pretty cute. Because how old would you say Missy is?
they have to have like a 3 or 4 year difference. So I'm
Yeah, maybe
guessing
like
guessing guessing
senior,
Bill and Ted
freshman.
are probably 17 years old. So
Right.
that she has to be like 21.
Yeah, right. So he is calling this person stepmom, and they've been in school together. So Ted is like, she's your stepmom's pretty cute. Remember when she was at San Dimas with us?
Yeah, she was a senior while they were freshmen.
Right. So Bill is like, shut up, Ted. Like, this is weird that my dad is married to someone that was in school with them. Predator behavior, but this is the
Yeah,
80s,
it's
but
a little
hey, it's
disturbing.
2026 and we had lots of predators. But in the 80s, they showed this as comedy.
I mean, we also see that she's about that life throughout this film
Right. She's about
and
the life of
sequels.
being the stepmom. Like she's taking on that role. So Ted arrives home and his dad, Captain Logan, played by Hal Landon Jr., is in the living room looking for his keys. He accuses Ted of stealing his keys for some reason. I don't know why specifically he thinks Ted took his keys, but I think he's just frustrated with Ted. So he's like, "You probably lost my keys."
Or he's probably done things similar to this, or he just knows his son is not.
But why would he take his keys? Specific. It doesn't seem like Ted or Bill drives.
I mean, even though, yeah, they don't really seem like troublemakers. Although they're really quick to being like, yeah, let's go to the past in the time machine.
Right. They're really like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, let's do it, dude."
I think they just, I don't know, their heads are up in the clouds, and he just thinks that he probably thought his keys were something else.
Okay. I don't think he thinks he's a dumbass. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
I guess they're not really potheads, but they really sound like potheads.
right. He announces that he spoke to his principal. The dad spoke to the principal and found out that Ted is flunking. So he warns him that he will have to go to military school if he completely flunks out, which, if the principal is calling Jonathan to tell the parents that the student's flunking, it's too late, right?
Yes, that's actually another thing
That means
I
they're
was gonna
flunking
say.
every other class.
Oh, that yeah, I actually discussed it with Tionni too. I'm like, they're only failing history. There's not a doubt in my mind they're not failing all the other courses like
Right.
math, English, whatever. They're not doing well. If they're not doing well in history, they're definitely not doing well in any of the other subjects.
So honestly, this whole movie could be thrown in the trash because he still would go to military school because he would probably flunk out of school. And
Right.
maybe Mr. Ryan is the nicest teacher there is, and he's the only one giving them a chance to not flunk out.
And Mr. Ryan is just now telling his father that he's about to fail when we're in the end of the school year. Also,
Right.
wouldn't happen.
Exactly. Also wanted to say, Jonathan, does anybody use the word flunk anymore? I feel like we need to bring it back.
Man,
I feel like we just
I'm
you're
not
not
even
even allowed to say
sure.
fail at this point, are
I'm not
you?
even sure we could fail these kids. They just move them up and hope for the
Well,
best.
maybe you say flunk and it won't sound as bad. Okay. Anyway, the dad says he already spoke with the colonel at the military school, and he is anxious to meet Ted. So it thinks that the ball is rolling. This is happening. That he's going to military school basically, and Ted goes back outside, gets in the car with Missy and Bill, and lets Bill know the news that his dad is planning to send him to military school in Alaska.
in
At that,
Alaska. Like what the
not even
hell?
like a nice place.
If going from San Dimas to Alaska,
That
does he
sucks.
hate his son? Did
Right.
he go through this?
I
And
think he's just sick of
he
him.
wants to make sure that his son is just as miserable as he was in this military school in Alaska.
Right. Exactly. I think he's just sick of him. So anyway, we go back in the future. But we go back to the future. A speaker on the council lets Rufus know it's time for Rufus to go help Bill and Ted because by Ted going to the military school, their separation is imminent. So we have to stop this separation and help them. So this man that's telling Rufus what to do summons an elevator, the elevator we saw in the movie, that travels through in the beginning of the movie, that travels through time for Rufus to travel to San Dimas Inn. On Rufus's way out, Rufus tells the council to be excellent to each other and to party on, dudes. We see also that the future San Dimas people, idolize Bill and Ted because there are pics of them on the wall playing air guitar.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop there for a second. There's another thing I need to also address that I don't make that doesn't make sense to me. All right,
Oh,
all right. These people from the future are sending Rufus to the past to set the history straight. So what exactly happened for it for history to be disrupted in any way where the path is leading these two to be separated? There has to be a cause for the effect.
So you're saying you need to know why they realized they had to stop them from being separated?
I need to know what caused history to change to have both
Oh,
Bill and
there's
Ted
no
separation.
problem. There's no
There,
problem in the future, is what you're
there,
saying.
there is no conflict to that we have seen as an audience to see that happen, to have the effect be Rufus like, oh, you know what? I have to go back in time and correct this
Well, I
to make
guess
sure that the timeline stays intact.
Jonathan's getting way too deep for this, but I will say with this movie, they just said simply, we know that at some point there's going to be a threat for him to go to military school, so we just have to stop that from happening, and therefore they can stay together and play in the band.
That should have already
That's
happened.
simple.
That should have already happened if that is what is the timeline. There's nothing that changed history, so that should have always been the case. So that means
Okay, I see what you're
that means
saying.
that future should have never existed because this is what should have happened. So something had to
You
have.
do realize you're talking about Bill and Ted's Excellent
All
Adventure,
right,
right?
but this is still story structure. This is still a plot.
Jonathan, story structure for Bill and Ted. Come
It's
on,
still
maybe
there
they
has to
address
be a cause for the effect.
maybe they address more of this in Bogus Journey.
They
They
didn't.
get more deep. They get
No,
deeper.
they absolutely didn't because after
Oh
that
my
they
god! I
continued.
thought this episode was gonna be short, but
All
maybe
right,
not.
well,
Because Jonathan's gonna pick this shit apart.
in
Bill
the,
and Ted's
in the Bogus
Excellent
Adventure,
Adventure.
we have someone in the future that hates Bill and Ted and tries to kill them, but this is already when they're out of high school.
Okay. Jonathan's upset. He didn't act this upset when we were watching it the other day.
No,
But anyway.
I mean, I
All
was
right,
watching.
real
All
quick,
right.
before we leave this area, I said there was a person on the council that tends to speak the most. The centermost future dude was played by Clarence Clemens, who was the saxophone player for Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band during their heyday. He is best remembered for his solo on the song Born to Run. So that's who the black man
Oh,
who
okay.
speaks all the time is. Gosh, Jonathan. So we're back in Bill's bedroom before Jonathan goes down another rabbit hole, which I'm sure he's going to go down again. All right, so back in Bill's bedroom, Phil and Ted are going over the history figures they have to talk about. Missy brings food in for the boys. She's acting like a true mom, like she's bringing food in for them to snack on. And Ted and Bill can't help but to lust for her, like they're ogling her. Because she was like a senior when they were freshmen.
He's like, that's your mom, dude.
Right, like yeah, Ted reminds Bill that that's his mom now.
She wasn't not his mom like a year ago or
Right.
2 years ago or something. You know, it's just like what?
Right, and like we saw, Ted said they were in school. I didn't say it yet, but later on he's gonna be like, remember when I asked her to the prom?
The prom.
So like he liked her, like Ted
Right.
liked her. So Bill's dad, Mr. Preston, played by J. Patrick McNamara, comes in and Bill tells him like they are destined to flunk most egregiously. But I don't think Mr. Preston is worried about that at all. He's more concerned about having sex with Missy, which is gross because we said how old she was.
Right.
And he's like a grown man. He looks like he's in his 40s. So he sends Bill and Ted on their way with some money as he prepares to have sex with Missy in Bill's bedroom.
That's messed up.
Right.
Bedroom is sacred. That's so not right.
He closes his bedroom door like, you know what I'm about to do, son.
And his dad probably knows that.
That his so son gross. This is so 80s. This is so 80s. So Ted clowns him about it, like right outside the bedroom as they leave. Like he's like, your stepmom is cute though. Remember when I asked her to prom? He's like, shut up, Ted.
The recurring joke.
And he's like, your dad's about to make it with your mom in your bedroom. Like, so gross.
The dad must have known that his son was crushing on.
Yeah, that's so messed up. It's so nasty. All right, so the boys go to the Circle K. They're asking the patrons different questions about historical figures because they're still working on the report. One of them asks a random lady in the car about Marco Polo and confirms that it's not just a water sport. Rufus shows up to the Circle K in the telephone booth, and they don't react. Do you think they react? I feel like they might be like, whoa, what happened? But they don't really react in like the way that...
shock.
Yeah, right. They're just like, okay, cool. Telephone booth that just came out of thin air. Rufus tells them that he's there to help them with their history report. And they question, how are you going to do that? And then another telephone booth from the future arrives with future Bill and Ted in tow.
They're a little more shocked here.
Right, because that's like, oh, we're seeing ourselves. Like, what does this mean? So the future Bill and Ted verify Rufus's claims that they're going to go through history to help with their report. And they're like, we know it's hard to believe, but it's true. You should listen to Rufus. They still don't seem convinced. They're like, even though they're talking to their future selves, but they're like, let's confirm this. What numbers are we thinking about? They confirmed the number they were thinking by saying 69, dudes. And they all air guitar in approval. Jonathan, I thought you were going to do it with me.
Oh.
Anyway, so the future Bill and Ted leave their past selves behind and say, listen to Rufus. He knows what he's talking about. And also give our love to the princesses. And they're like, who are the princesses? What are you talking about? You'll see. And then they also tell Ted not to forget to wind his watch. So Bill and Ted go over to the side and go over what they just heard. And they're trying to figure out whether or not to trust themselves and Rufus. But Bill says, why would we lie to ourselves? That doesn't make sense. It's clearly us. Yeah. So they then go over to Rufus in the booth, and he dials a phone number. The booth starts buzzing, and Rufus says, gentlemen, we're history. And they go through the circuits of history. Bill asks, how are we doing this? And Rufus answers, modern technology, William. Fact, according to Alex Winter, filming in the phone booth was so unpleasant that he and Keanu Reeves nicknamed it the Death Box.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be comfortable. Yeah. So they arrive at whatever time Rufus plugs them into, and as they exit the booth, Bill says, that was most unprecedented, Rufus. And we're just going to throw in all these random big words. This kind of sounds like when T.I. says expeditiously out of nowhere.
It's just words you don't really use in conversation.
Right.
Like,
right.
These are not big words. It's just words, again, these are words that you don't use in conversation. Like, egregiously.
Right. And why would, like, did they hear it once? Like, right. Like, where did they hear it? So Rufus says that they are in Austria 1805. The French have just invaded. So they exclaim, we're in the middle of a war, dude. And then they see Napoleon, played by Terry Camilleri, and they say hi, and he notices them like, who are these people, like, in the middle of this battle?
And Napoleon has an appropriate reaction to this.
Well, what do you mean?
Napoleon is like, let's kill them.
Right, yeah, okay. So this makes Rufus, Bill, and Ted want to avoid being caught up in this war, being captured, so they leave hastily. So hastily that they don't notice that Napoleon gets sucked into a vortex of the booth and it drags him in as they are leaving that timeline. So Rufus takes Bill and Ted back to Ted's house and he teaches them how to use the booth. Like, you just plug in, I guess you're dialing in the year. That's what you're doing in the time.
I mean, like, the phone book is really like kind of a manual of what numbers to press of where you want to go in time.
Oh, okay.
Which is also bogus, because there's so much. You know how big that book would be.
Look, Jonathan, this is not bogus journey. This is the excellent adventure. Stop calling it bogus. Okay. Anyway, so he teaches them how to use the booth in the phone book, and he wishes them luck. He's like, they have to do this on their own. So he leaves, and once he leaves, Napoleon falls out of the booth unconscious. I'm guessing they didn't notice Napoleon was in the booth.
Yeah, right.
They didn't notice that somehow.
He wasn't in the booth. They didn't. So yeah, Napoleon got dragged from maybe the energy that.
So he was kind of behind the booth.
Time machine.
Okay.
So it kind of like pulled them in.
Right.
And he was traveling behind the time machine.
Oh, okay.
They only noticed him because he falls from the tree that he got stuck in when they landed near Ted's house.
Okay, so he falls out of the tree unconscious. They pick him up and they take him inside the house. And Ted comes up with the idea, since they have one of them, to go back in time and bring even more historical figures to San Dimas for the report.
And that actually gave him the idea to do that, which actually would be a pretty good idea to have a kick-ass, unusual report, right?
Right, they actually have
that would be
that
something special.
Right. So they bring Napoleon in the house. They instruct Ted's little brother to watch Napoleon and not let him out of the house. It was like, this is not going to go well because it's a kid. They give his brother money to take Napoleon to the movies or something. And then as they're giving him instruction, Napoleon wakes up and they introduce themselves to him. They promise, he speaks French, so he's not really understanding any of this stuff, but they tell him anyway, like, we promise to take you back once we're done with our report. And after you tell us what you think of San Dimas. So then they leave he leaves his little brother with Napoleon to get started on the rest of their project, which, as we said, is them going back into different times to get other historical figures. So Ted and Bill try to leave, like they're on their way out of the house, but Ted's father stops Ted from leaving the house so he can basically scold him. He is disappointed with him. It's basically like a continuation of the conversation that was started.
Right.
He is disappointed with him and tells him he's grounded, like you're not allowed to leave the house. Like, where are you going?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then,
technically he's supposed to work on the project,
right,
right?
he's supposed to be working. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and if he's leaving the house, I would have no confidence in him that he's even working on the assignment.
Right, he's probably practicing in his stupid band. So Bill calls the house to try to get Ted out of it and pretends to be Deputy Van Halen. I guess his father wasn't in touch with music of the day because he
Right.
didn't catch that. And he tells him he found his keys at the station. So once the captain hangs up with Deputy Van Halen, he tells Ted that he's getting on the plane tomorrow night and to pack his bag. So the decision's already been made. Ted is going to military school.
No confidence in him whatsoever.
Right, like he didn't even let him complete the project.
Right. You should at least give him the day to try to do something.
But again, like we said, he's probably flunking all of his classes, and we don't know if any other teachers gave them any last chances. So
But, that wouldn't be the case because how did part 2 happen?
I don't remember. So anyway, so Ted goes outside and tells Bill he's leaving tomorrow night. So passing the report is more important than ever. And I'm like, but you're already leaving tomorrow night. So I don't know. Whatever, Jonathan. It's a fun movie. Let's continue. So they look over the historical figures they want to nab, like the ones they think they should bring, and they make their way to the telephone booth. As they're exiting the lawn in the telephone booth, Ted's dad briefly sees the booth as it leaves, but questions his eyes because it's really quick, and he's like, "Wait, did I just see what up? Okay, maybe not."
Right. I mean, I probably feel the same way. Like, I gotta make sure that didn't just happen because then I'm going crazy.
Right, exactly. So they arrive. The first place they arrive is the Old West, where someone is taking a dump in an outhouse. They don't see this, but we as the audience see somebody taking a dump in an outhouse. So then we see the man react to a telephone booth appearing out of thin air and landing right next to the outhouse. They walk through town. So Bill and Ted arrive. They walk through town, and people look at them strangely because they're still wearing their same 1989 outfits and they look like they're out of place. They enter a bar full of cowboys and they order 2 beers and they are shocked that they are given the beers with no question. They weren't carded at all. So they're like, we got to remember this place for next time. A man comes into the bar and shoots off a round. And I think Bill or Ted asked the bartender, like, who's that? And they're like, that's Billy the Kid. Billy the Kid's played by Dan Shore. And so of course Bill and Ted are like, oh, that sounds familiar. We learned about Billy the Kid. We should pay attention to this guy. So Billy, what do you want to say, Jonathan?
Didn't they dial to try to see Billy the Kid? Do they have any direction?
But remember, Jonathan, when they arrive, they're like, let's look around and see who we could bring back. Right. I was like, how about a historical figure?
Who you were talking about. You had Napoleon Bonaparte. So
they forgot, Jonathan. They forgot.
Like, what are you talking about?
Look for somebody of note.
This was your purpose. Oh, my God.
I think we could all chalk everything up that's a plot hole to stupidity for the characters,
Sure.
Okay? So Billy the Kid asks for 2 men to help him with something, and Bill and Ted excitedly shout, we're with you, Billy the Kid, because they realize they can take him. They want to take him.
Right.
So what Billy the Kid wants them to do is play poker with him, and basically, if they win something, he gets it. If he wins something, he gets it. So Bill and Ted get nothing.
All right. No matter what, he's getting everything.
Right. So Bill, during the poker game, Bill, not Billy, Bill dumbly shouts, whoa, 3 aces. And the other poker players are like, are you trying to cheat us, Billy? And he's like, no. And then he realizes, oh shit, we're found out because Bill's stupid. And then they get into a whole bar fight. It's like a whole bar fight scene.
I'm not sure why they thought he was cheating. I guess because Billy the Kid must have been dealing, because there's no reason for them to think that they're cheating just because.
Well, I chalked it up to like it seems like they're working with him. Like it seems like something's off. Like who are these 2 kids, and you're probably using them to help you out.
I mean, you're also having a discussion in front of them, like how to have a poker face. So they're obviously novices.
Right. So they get into a bar fight, and Bill and Ted mostly watch, but are brought into the fight because they're a part of it.
Right.
And Billy helps them get out of a bind, like they're getting beat up. But then the men catch all 3 of them, and Bill and Ted distract the men and save Billy the Kid, and they escape. Rounded that scene up real fast.
Yeah,
bar fight. We gotta get through it. So they run out with Billy the Kid, and they take him to the booth. and he says, "You guys saved my life." So he's willingly going with them because he's escaping what he thinks is going to be death. Because there was really barely any laws in the West. So he's like, "I'll go with you." And they leave the scene, and all of the townspeople look on in disbelief as the telephone booth disappears. All right, so now, Jonathan, we're in Athens, Greece, 410 BC. We're meeting Socrates, but pronounced by Bill and Ted as Socrates. And he's played by Tony Steedman. He's giving a very philosophical speech in what probably is Greek. He's speaking Greek. So Bill and Ted approach him. He looks at them very shocked and confused, like, who are these guys? And they wonder what to do next and how to get him to go with them, especially since they don't speak the language. And Bill explains, like, philosophize with him to Ted. So Ted gives it a go and says, "All we are dust in the wind, dude." And Socrates seems to be excited to communicate with them in any way, I don't know why, and says, "Like sands in an hourglass, those are the days of our lives." Or these are the days of our lives.
I didn't even know where that came from until
And
you
he
told me.
excitedly goes with them after they make that weird ass connection. So yeah, it's like Jonathan was getting ready to say. You want to say the fact, Jonathan?
Oh, it was a fact?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Bill's philosophy to Socrates.
So crazy.
Or, all right, sorry. I'm saying it the way they said it.
Okay.
Jesus. Socrates. All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Is a line from Dust in the Wind by Kansas. And then Socrates' response is like sands of the hourglass. Wait, Socrates' response? Did he respond to this?
Yeah, that's what he said. Like sands of the hourglass. Yes.
Socrates says this?
Yes, Jonathan. Are you paying
Okay,
attention?
like sands of the hourglass, such are the days of our lives. For decades, that was the opening credits voiceover for the days of our lives in 1965.
So I think he might have said it in Greek. He might have said it in his language. I don't remember. It might have been
I
the
was just like,
subtitle.
what?
Next they go to the 15th century. They go to 15th century England. And Bill asks a random man where there might be someone of historical significance, and the man points to a castle. So Bill and Ted leave Billy and Socrates behind with the booth. They see princesses that their future selves talked about, waving to them from the balcony, and they instantly fall in love. Bill tries to get Ted to stay on task because Ted is the ladies' man and wants to get to know them. Like, those are the girls that we were talking about to ourselves. Ted convinces him, like, let's try to go after him because they are historical babes. That's what he says. So Bill agrees to go find them. They enter the castle and hide their identities in knight's armor, and they call it heavy metal and do their classic air guitar. They start sword fighting for no reason, wasting time, and Bill accidentally pushes Ted down the stairs towards people who appear to stab him in his armor. So it looks like Ted is dead because he gets stabbed. And Bill gasps and runs away as the men pursue him. He hides successfully as they pass him by. They don't notice him and they leave him behind. So once he's in the clear, he goes down the stairs to see about Ted. He thinks Ted is dead and mourns him by saying, "Bogus, heinous, most non-triumphant."
Most non-triumphant.
And so, but then a man finds him, one of the men that were chasing him find him, and he comes in the room, and Bill attacks him for killing Ted. The guy gets him on the ground and is about to kill Bill. And Ted knocks him out. So Ted is actually alive. He's obviously not, they're not going to do something like that in this kind of movie. Ted's still alive.
Right.
So Ted and Bill find the princesses. Ted is designated by Bill as the ladies' man, so he goes to introduce themselves as bringing the princesses a message of love. Ted asks both of them to the prom back in San Dimas. They agree and ask them to help them escape the castle because I think they're destined to marry like two royal ugly dudes. That's how Rufus explains it. So they're like, "Can you help us escape?" They instantly agree to help the princesses get out of the castle, but they fail immediately because they open a door and they run into the king of the castle. So the king tells his men to put them in the Iron Maiden, and dumbass Bill and Ted get excited and say, "Excellent!" in air guitar, thinking that he's talking about the band. So the king clarifies this and says, "Execute them," and they realize their fate.
Right.
Idiots. But they don't know history, so clearly they're not going to know deep cut like Iron Maiden. They end up on the chopping block about to get their heads cut off. Maybe the king was like upset that they were excited about going to the Iron Maiden. So they decide to just chop their heads off. So two executioners prepare, they're hooded, you can't tell their identities. They prepare to cut off Bill and Ted's heads, but it turns out to be Billy the Kid and Socrates, and they're there to save them.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right.
They
So
stopped playing with the football they had in the phone booth.
I get Billy the Kid's like he feels like he has to save their lives, but I'm kind of like Socrates. Like I guess
I
he was
mean,
down for it. I don't know.
he's the Robin to the Batman, right?
All
Billy the
right,
Kid is Batman.
right. So he's like, all right, fine. So I mean, then they need them to get back to their timeline at some point,
That's true.
right? So Bill, Ted, Billy the Kid, and Socrates escape on horses with the phone booth in tow, but they leave the princesses behind out of haste. Like they didn't have time to also
Right.
get them. So they all jump in the phone booth, and Bill dials a number, and the phone isn't working quite right for some reason. It kind of goes to a busy signal, and then he tries another number, and they escape just in time. They
So, and
okay,
whenever
yeah.
we go into like these medieval times or anything, in the past, one thing that always comes to my mind is I wouldn't be able to handle the smell. I mean, living in a time where we shower and have deodorant,
Oh, the
it's a
smell. I thought you said snow.
smell, right? It's anytime I see that, I'm like, man, everyone looks so dirty. Everyone looks like they stink.
They didn't look particularly dirty in
Hey,
this
because they're
movie.
royals, right? But still, I still would think that in my mind. I would think that I would
Everything
never want to
smells.
go
There's
in the
shit on the
past
streets.
just in fear of what I would smell. And it's just, I just can't help ever, I can't help not think that every time I see a
I
time
feel
period
like you need
piece.
to practice your suspension of disbelief, Jonathan. Now think about that.
I don't know. It's something, I wonder if anyone else feels that way. I mean, for me, like smell is very important.
Right. They arrive in the future San Dimas headquarters, where we were in the beginning of the film. They hear electric guitar playing over the loudspeakers, and they get out of the telephone booth because they feel like this must be a safe place. And they meet the council, who seem to be super starstruck by them. The council starts playing air guitar to them, like they're doing like to them. And then more people come out to see the great ones because that's what they call Bill and Ted, and they begin playing air guitar along with the council. So Bill and Ted realize that they might be a little idolized in this timeline, and Bill prepares to make a speech. Like Ted is like, I think we should say something. Like, should we say something? So Bill says, "Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes." And as you know, they say that to each other, so they're like, "Oh, they said it." So everyone gets excited to hear
Right.
their famous slogans. And Bill and Ted then declare that they need to leave because they have to finish their history report. And the future people groan out of disappointment because they don't want their heroes to leave so soon. So Bill and Ted then enter the booth, and they realize that the telephone booth is on the fritz. I'm like, damn, they only traveled, what, three places?
People in the future realize there's something wrong with the phone booth.
Right. They were so starstruck now that they
I
realized that
guess.
the what is it? The antenna was
Right.
messed up.
The time
Yeah.
of the phone booth that appears when they are time traveling.
Right.
I mean,
They
like
they're like, oh shit, we didn't even realize that they were
one of them
crazy.
should at least be thinking like you'll never meet your heroes. These guys are dumb.
Jonathan, they say the world, it doesn't matter how dumb they are.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So we go back to Napoleon finally, see what he's up to. And Napoleon and Ted's brother are at an ice cream parlor with some of the brothers' friends. They order a huge sundae for the table, and Napoleon questions it, but he starts to eat it. He ends up loving it and finishes most of it by himself as the brother and his friends look on.
He's never had ice
And
cream like
now,
this.
huh?
He's never had ice cream like this. This
Right.
is definitely. I think anyone in history would probably respond the same way.
Right. And now he is in love with ice cream in general. The workers give him a patch for finishing the huge sundae and declare he is a Ziggy Piggy.
Ziggy Piggy, Ziggy Piggy,
Thank you,
Ziggy.
Jonathan.
Right.
Thank you.
Piggy.
Okay. So Ted and Bill, flip it, are traveling through a timeline not knowing where they will end up. They end up in Vienna, Austria, 1901. They notice Sigmund Freud, played by Rod Loomis. Bill and Ted approach him and say hello. Then Billy the Kid just lassos Freud and kidnaps him into the booth. So they're just kidnappers now. They're stealing people. Then they go to Castle,
Yeah,
Germany.
we have to go quickly. This movie is only could be a certain length.
Right. Then they go to Castle, Germany in 1810 as Beethoven, played by Clifford David, is playing his masterpiece. Jonathan said it was Beethoven's fifth. Is that correct, Jonathan?
I never checked it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Okay. Well, they kidnap him in the middle of his performance. Fact, John mentioned this too. When Bill and Ted arrive in Germany to grab Beethoven for the report, he is the only person in the room not to hear the time machine
All
arrive.
right,
This is because
he's
Beethoven
deaf.
was severely deaf by 1810.
Right,
I didn't even notice like the audience was like, oh, like, and Beethoven
right.
was just like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I laughed and mentioned this while watching the movie. Like Tiani said, it was just, it was that was definitely pretty well done for directing.
right. Did I just go? Is that Beethoven or Mozart? I might have done both.
I
Wait, what's
think
Beethoven's?
that's what it is, right?
I don't know.
Shoot, I forgot already.
Damn, sorry
I have to
guys.
listen to Beethoven play the
My
piano.
fault. That's all I'll say. Anyway, then they head to Orleans, France in 1410. Joan of Arc, played by Jane Wieldlin, not Winona Ryder Jonathan, is taking off her helmet and praying.
She's definitely a doppelganger.
Right. They arrive out of thin air in front of Joan, making her think that they are a sign from God. So she goes with them with no questions asked because she thinks that
Right.
God sent them.
Because yes, she has to see the light, and she's like, you know what? This is a message.
Right. This is my sign.
I mean, she's all about messages, right?
Right.
She's doing this in the name of God.
Right. So right after that, they head to Mongolia, 1209, where Genghis Khan, played by Al Leong, is chowing down on drumsticks with his concubines by his
I mean,
side.
this guy was disgusting too. And
He
he played
was.
disgusting very well.
Right. And the poor ladies that he's with, they definitely don't want to be his concubine. So, yeah. The booth shows up, and Bill and Ted lure him in the booth with food. So
I
that's how they
mean,
get him.
that's probably the only way they would could have been successful. Because honestly, Genghis Khan should have like
Just killed
wanted to
them.
kill them any chance he got.
Right.
He's a savage,
Right.
as we read in history.
So he wanted more food. So that's how they got him. Then they head to the White House in 1863. Who do they pick up, Jonathan?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, and he's played by Robert V. Barron. And the way they lure him is with a Candygram announcement. So he goes to answer the door, and they just kidnap him from there. So now the booth is full, very, very full. And Bill notices that the antenna is broken on the booth, and they are tumbling down the timeline, which is always scary. We've seen different shows and movies depict just being lost in different timelines. I feel like The Flash depicted that like every day,
Right.
every episode. He was stuck in a timeline. Um, so, fact, one of the TV commercials promoting this movie back in 1988 had George Washington lamenting on how he was not picked to go with Bill and Ted, but expects them to come by anytime now. They never do. All right, so Ted's brother has now taken Napoleon bowling, and Napoleon is cheating and changing the score so that he can win. Napoleon sucks at bowling and he falls on his face in the alley. While he is struggling to get up, Ted's brother and friends ditch him at the bowling alley and leave him with the bill to pay.
He picked it up pretty quickly, knowing how the game is played.
Right,
He knew how to try to cheat,
right.
change the scorecard.
So Napoleon goes after the kids and because he notices that they're leaving the bowling alley and the manager stops him and tells him that he didn't close his tab. But again, we said Napoleon only speaks French, so he's not understanding why he is getting stopped and yelled at. And he gets kicked out of the bowling alley with nowhere to go because obviously he can't pay the bill, so he's ousted and probably told to never come back again.
I'm surprised that's all that happened.
Right. You surprised all this happened?
I'm
What do you
surprised
mean?
that's all that's happened. He could have got arrested.
Right.
Napoleon could have been like,
All right, he could have got
F.
arrested because I assume he didn't have money to give.
No, and Napoleon also had a sword. He could have been like, you know what? I'll do whatever I want.
Right, because he doesn't know the laws of America. um, so Bill, Ted, and all the historical figures are stuck in 1 million BC, right? As I said, 1 million
Yeah.
BC. So Bill is trying to repair the antenna. He gets everyone to chew bubble gum and put it all together in a ball to put the antenna back together. They all pile into the booth and hope that those repairs work. And right when they're getting ready to try it out, two cavemen come by just in time to see the booth leave and freak out when it disappears.
Thankfully, they weren't killed by some type of animal like a saber-tooth tiger or something.
Oh yeah, that's true. They could have got a woolly mammoth or something. They could stop by.
Oh boy.
Wait, no. By the time cavemen came and all the dinosaurs were done, right? They were gone, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they were color light.
Uh, who knows?
Job is like, I don't know.
Who knows?
Johnny,
No,
what?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Who really knows?
Right. So they finally arrive back at Circle K in San Dimas, and they see their past selves do the whole thing. So now they're their future selves, and they're looking at their past selves. Basically, the scene from the beginning plays out where
Right.
they convince themselves that they are their future selves.
Yeah, they
Whatever.
remember what exactly that their future self say doesn't say it to their past selves.
Right. So Rufus tells them they also see Rufus in this because Rufus goes to talk to them in that same scene. And they find out that they only technically have 2 hours left before their presentation. Jonathan, can you explain why? Did Bill plug in like the wrong time? Like he was supposed to plug in the next
Honestly,
day?
this scene got me super
I
confused.
was like, what? Like
I was just like,
I thought you understood.
his future self already reminded his past self to rewind his watch. Did he not rewind his watch then when he was told to? It looked like he was doing it. So what, he was supposed to rewind his watch again later? I'm just
Some of
like,
this
what?
stuff is a little
I was like,
whatever.
what are you talking about,
What
yo?
are you talking about, man?
That to me always super confusing. If someone has an explanation, please be my guest.
Yeah, please
Explain.
break down Bill and Ted's
No,
explanation.
just that one part.
Give us a deep dive,
Yeah,
please.
and this actually brought back something that we also talked about and thought about. Like, why couldn't Rufus go with them? There was no reason why Rufus couldn't
I know,
make.
because then if you want to use the argument as he could mess up how things are supposed to happen, then that's the same thing
No,
with Bill and Ted.
there's no timeline that's been being affected. This is actually just is right now. They're just up everything.
All right,
Oh
this is
man,
too
that's
much.
cursed.
All right, so
But anyways,
can we
Rufus
get
could have
back into the plot,
Rufus
yo?
doing nothing. All he did was give him a time machine and hope for the best.
Jonathan, do you hate this movie? All right, we'll ask at the end. All right, so they arrive in their time machine at Bill's backyard the next day, where Missy is watering the grass. They introduce all the historical figures to her. She seems to not be confused or like it doesn't bother her at all. But what she does care about is that they're asking for a ride and they haven't done their chores. They can't do anything
Oh
until they
boy.
do their chores. So then there's a stupid little scene where they have to complete their chores and the historical figures help out. And of course, they're looking at all these different things like, what the fuck is this? And that's it. So
Right.
she gives them a ride. So Bill and Ted takes all the historical figures to the mall. Bill tells Beethoven to be careful not to get sucked into the escalator, but Jonathan pointed out that he's talking to somebody that can't hear how to be safe on the
Yeah,
escalator.
man.
They're all
If only they read what they had to read.
right. So basically, Bill and Ted are leaving all of these historical figures in the mall to keep them occupied so they can go retrieve Napoleon. I don't know why they couldn't just take all of them to go get
That would have
Napoleon.
been a better thing to do
Right. They're like, oh,
what
fun place for them to hang out at the mall.
you think they'd be okay in a place they've never been before and
Right.
things they've never seen before?
Right.
They're not gonna wander and not stay together.
Right. So at the assembly, Mr. Ryan is checking his schedule of student presenters for this oral report, and it says that Bill and Ted should be presenting at 2:45 p.m.
Oh, we were also told they have only. Did you said this? They only have 2 hours right
Yeah,
now.
it's Jonathan.
So Tiani mentioned this. 2 hours. Okay, so everything we go from here to that presentation,
It's a
two
movie,
hours.
2 hours, Jonathan. But
2
in movie
hours.
time, it's like 20 minutes. But it's two
Two
hours.
hours. We're gonna mention a lot of things that happen in 2 hours.
So you think it should have been 4? Like, what are you saying?
I'm saying
You
two
don't know
hours.
how close the mall is to the
They
school and
had
the
to.
water park?
They had to clean. They go to the mall and you're gonna see everything else that happens from there. That's way too
We
much.
just saw all of it in 20 minutes, Jonathan. I believe it. Anyway, they're supposed to be presenting at 2:45, and Mr. Ryan looks at it as if he doubts they will show up. God, let me finish my sentence. So anyway, Bill and Ted go to Ted's brother to retrieve Napoleon, and his brother admits that he ditched him because he was an asshole or a dick. I don't know, one of those
Napoleon
things.
was an asshole.
All right, so they try to figure out where Napoleon might have ended up, and then they decide that he would go to the most awesome place in the world, the Waterloo Water Park, to have a blast. There's no rhyme or reason why they came to that 80s stupid brain rot movie, okay? So we see
Yeah,
Napoleon
just
sneaking
have
in.
to have the water park in there.
We see Napoleon. That was a big thing in the 80s. Like water parks
Yeah,
were a big thing.
especially in this movie.
Right. So we see Napoleon sneaking into the water park behind another kid, like going through the turnstile right behind him. And he goes to the highest slide in the park in his underoos. I call it that because his underwear are very old timey. They're like a whole overall set.
Yeah,
He is hesitant about the slide, and the water slide attendant like gets annoyed with him and pushes him down. He's screaming like crazy, but then he seems to enjoy it in the end. So much so, he does it over and over again. It's just a stupid, silly scene of Napoleon enjoying the slide.
yeah. He's like pushing kids out of the way, and then he has fun with the kids, just going in the slide. He's having a blast.
Right? He's having a blast. And at the end, maybe he won't kill anyone when he goes back. And see, this is what Jonathan's talking about, is changing the timeline. Because how could you have so much fun at a water slide?
I actually didn't mention that yet, but yes,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to talk about
Okay,
that too.
sorry. So at the end of one of his slide rides, Bill and Ted drag him out, and he is fighting to stay at the park. That's what he wants to continue to do for the rest of his life. Um, then we go to Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is back in the mall, and she's intrigued by an aerobics class that's happening there. Beethoven is having fun in a music store because this music store manager, whatever, is showing him like all these different keyboards and pianos. He's like, "What? You could do what with what?" So he's intrigued. Billy the Kid and Socrates are infatuated with two young girls that are sitting in the food court, and they try to step to them, and the girls are laughing at them as they approach. Because I mean, especially Socrates, like
Of what he's wearing, and he's super old. Yeah,
he's wearing like a what, toga. What is that?
yeah.
Um, But anyway, so they laugh at him as they approach, and then Sigmund Freud arrives, and Billy the Kid and Socrates feel like they got cock blocked by his nerdiness. They're like, you messed it all up.
I mean, he
Like,
definitely didn't help.
right, these girls definitely didn't want any of you, but okay.
He also
Um,
said,
so then we go to Genghis Khan, and he is in a sporting goods store checking out a bat, something he's never seen, and he realizes that it could work as a new weapon. So he beats up a mannequin in the store, impressed by it. He like destroys the mannequin, and obviously this gets the attention of anybody that's in the store.
I mean, the
Uh,
baseball bat is lighter than the club, and he's
right,
like, "Oh man, this is making me quicker. This is still hard. I'm kicking ass with this bat."
right. So Abraham Lincoln is taking photos. I said in a booth, but what do you call those things? Like the
It
like
wasn't a photo booth. It's just one of those stores that
give you
just takes
different
photos,
like
right? It's just like
backgrounds.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so he's taking photos in one of those stores,
And
and
it seemed like it's themed to be historical.
all right, so Abraham Lincoln is taking photos in the store that has like these different photo backgrounds that you can take with historical backgrounds and stuff like that. And the photographer in the store wrongfully accuses Abraham Lincoln of trying to steal the hat that he's wearing and the beard and to give it back. And I'm like, did you see him walk in with the stuff
Right,
on already? Did
dumbass.
you hand him the stuff to put on? But of course, Abraham Lincoln is insisting it's his because he came in the store with it. Then we go back to Joan and we see Joan is leading an aerobics class as if she forcefully took it over because why the hell would she all of a sudden be leading it?
Why would she want to lead it?
Right, right. And she enjoys it. She like was intrigued by it. So anyway, Beethoven is playing for a large audience that gathers around him, annoying the manager because the manager feels like he has better things to do.
It's just taking
Uh,
a long time.
right. And then the cops begin. You see the cops coming in these different stores, apprehending all of them for disturbing the peace because they're creating a scene. Especially like Genghis Khan is like destroying the sporting goods store. And I guess Billy the Kid and Socrates are, I don't know, are they like pedophiles? So like why are they being chased?
I forgot what he did.
Yeah, I'm like, because
He
they're
must have
being
done
chased.
something.
Yeah, they gotta have done something. Maybe the girls complained about them.
Maybe.
So at the police station, Sigmund Freud is being questioned, but he keeps questioning the cop that's questioning him because he's a therapist. And he asked the cop about his mom and if he wants to lay down. And you see the cop get up like, why do you
Yeah,
keep asking me questions? I don't want to lay down. Then
he
we
got
see
frustrated.
then we see Honest Abe is being questioned. And he can't help but to be honest, and he gives him his real name, like my name is Abraham Lincoln, and my birthday is 17 something. So the captain, I think Ted's dad is questioning him,
Yeah.
so he's getting annoyed. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, this
Um,
man really thinks he's Abraham Lincoln.
right. So then we cut to a football player who's doing his oral report terribly, and he ends with San Diego's high school football rules to save his presentation, but it doesn't save his
Where do
grade.
we hear something like that before?
I mean, where did they take it from? Billy Madison took it from this
I
movie.
know, no. I'm not saying that Billy Madison took it. No,
So
that they
what's
took
the
it from
high
Billy
school?
Madison. Billy Madison also used this in
Is it a Nib high school
his little
football?
answer.
Nib high school
Yeah,
football
right.
rules? Yes. So Bill and Ted realize that Ted's father arrested all of the historical figures. Ted goes inside the station to see what's going on with them, where they're at, and he runs into his dad first. And Ted declares that Ted is still going to military school and he needs to pack his damn bags. Like, why are you here? Go home, pack your bags.
He didn't know that his son wasn't at home the whole night.
Right. I guess when he went to get his keys at the station, he stayed there.
I guess.
I guess. So Ted goes back out to Bill and tells him what's happening, that all the historical figures are behind bars. And Bill comes up with an idea to steal. This one kind of made me like scratch my head a little bit. Bill comes up with an idea to steal his dad's keys in the past so that he can get his dad's keys in the future, which is technically this moment in the present.
All right,
So
so you want me to clear that up a
so
little
Bill
bit?
suggests they hide the keys behind the sign, and then they say, "Oh, look, the keys are behind the sign," and they find the keys. And then Ted reminds them that if they don't forget to steal the keys after the presentation, then it will have never happened. But Ted declares that technically it already happened. And he goes, I guess I did steal my dad's keys. Jonathan, do you want to clean that up?
All right, so they don't have time to go back in time at this moment because they still have to do everything they need to do to get to that report, that presentation.
All right.
So their plan is because they will still have the time machine after the presentation, they will use that time, all the time they have, just to go back in time in order to set everything in place. So after the presentation, they have to remember to go back in time to steal his dad keys, and they will know where to hide it because that's what they're thinking at the moment. All right, so we're gonna hide it behind the sign, and it should be here, or it was like under the sign or whatever, right? So
And
they pick up the keys and like, oh, it worked. So they're gonna have that memory that the keys being near the sign worked. So they're gonna see other things that they do in order to help
oh god.
get from one point to the other, which is also very stupid.
After all that, it's like it's stupid. All right, so then Bill asks Missy to bring the car around back so they can break out the historical figures. They go inside and they hide in the station behind a desk. And Bill tells Ted to remember to get the tape recorder and set the timer on it for 2:13 p.m. Ted asks what he's going to say on it, and at that moment, they hear Ted's voice say on the tape recorder, "Dad, hey Dad, over here." Ted's dad hears that and follows Ted's voice. Jonathan, do you want to explain that?
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing like the keys. I'm pretty sure at this moment
Jonathan.
I'm pretty sure at this moment the writer's like, we could do anything to be able to have them be successful, to break them out of prison, right? To break them out of the jail cell.
Right.
So they're having fun with it at this moment. Whoever is writing the script and writing the story, they're having a lot of fun just placing a whole bunch of things that happen because it is just ridiculous of how they got from point A to point B.
So once the dad goes to look for Ted, they take that opportunity to head to the cells where the figures are being kept. They see a paper in the typewriter that tells them good luck from their future selves, and it also warns them to duck as another police officer passes them. So they duck. Then they go to the cells and they get the historical figures. The dad finds the tape recorder and goes to the cell to see Ted and Bill leaving with the figures out of the window. They get away by putting a garbage can over his head. But how does the garbage can get on his head, Jonathan?
Okay, so this is where I'm just like, wait, this makes absolutely no sense. So like, as it continues, I'm thinking to myself, how do they know to do all of these things? So did they fail over and over and over, and they just kept going, having to go back in time to correct those mistakes? Did they get caught because they didn't duck? Did they get caught because the dad
Oh,
didn't
I
get
didn't
trapped
even think
in the
about that,
garbage
yo.
can? So for them to constantly go back in time to try to correct some of these things, it's just like
Like, don't
where
forget
does it
to
even
wind your
start?
watch.
Uh,
Like, that has to have been a mistake.
so that is all complete BS. Like how did this all become?
Jonathan. They finally arrive at school to do their oral report. Mr. Ryan puts down an F next to Bill and Ted's name because he doesn't know that they're there. They don't seem to be showing up. They're not in the auditorium. So Mr. Ryan is about to dismiss the class, but Bill and Ted interrupt that announcement by introducing the historical figures. They announce that the figures are on their 1988 world tour. Billy the Kid comes out first and shoots his gun in the air so that the students pay attention. He introduces Bill and Ted to the stage. They go over all the historical figures that they have with them, and they introduce Socrates first. Bill and Ted's fathers arrive at the school in time to see them doing their project on stage. Sigmund Freud does a live therapy session on stage for Ted. Bill denies the session since he has already diagnosed himself with a minor Oedipal. Did I say that right? Oedipal complex. It sounded weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, we know
Basically, that
if you
he,
don't know what that is,
yeah,
he has the hots for his mom.
right.
But it's not
He's
really
like,
his
I already know.
biological mom,
He's like, I already know what my problem is. I have
right?
a minor Oedipal
And you
complex.
see it cut to his current mom or
Right.
stepmom being like,
Ew. Just
right,
kidding. I mean, Genghis Khan performs a fighting routine. At Bill and Joan of Arc's sword fight as Ted talks about her legacy. Beethoven plays music for everyone as the students nod along. Napoleon goes over his war plans on stage using a water slide as inspiration for his next battle. Fact, when Napoleon finishes his water slide presentation at the end of the movie, Ted looks up and says, I don't think it's going to work. He is actually diagramming Napoleon Bonaparte's most disastrous defeat, the French invasion of Russia.
that's great,
All
that's
right.
funny. So another thing about this report.
Oh, God. So you're not going to let me finish the report? Can I finish the report?
All right, fine, finish the report.
So Abe Lincoln is last to speak. He does his famous speech with a little bit of a twist. He ends with "Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes." They all leave in the booth, leaving. Okay, Bill and Ted and the historical figures all leave in the telephone booth, leaving everyone stunned. But then they all stand up and rapturously applaud the presentation. Real quick fact: we are to assume. Maybe Jonathan's going to say something about this, but we are to assume that Bill and Ted kept their promise and return the figures back to their timeline. That means most of them returned to terrible fates. Most of the historical figures Bill and Ted brought back with them died horrifically. Several, including Socrates, Joan of Arc, Billy the Kid, and Abraham Lincoln, were either executed or assassinated. Sigmund Freud died by assisted suicide. Some people believe Napoleon Bonaparte's death under house arrest was the result of arsenic poisoning. Historically, Genghis Khan and Ludwig van Beethoven died of natural causes.
Yes, I was gonna mention all of that a little later too. Yes, I was gonna mention that. Uh, I'm actually gonna go into something else after.
Mm,
I'm just waiting for a scene to happen. But what
okay.
I was about to say about the report is they did they didn't really do any research. All they did was find historical figures. So
Jonathan, we know that. We
so so some of the stuff they were saying within the presentation was as if they actually did the research and you.
but I just gave you a fact that Ted said, I don't think that's gonna work. So he had a little joke in there like that battle is gonna fail.
But still, they didn't really research. They actually, the one they were doing the presentation, they were actually stating facts that they should even know.
But
And
also, like even Bill was like, "Oh, I know I have an edible complex." They have to know what that means.
right, what? Where did that even come from? Whatever. It
Jonathan,
was
you are
confusing.
thinking too deeply about this movie. Are you kidding? Can I continue? Can I finish the movie and then
Well,
you
we
can
also
get
discussed
into
that Bill is actually seems to be he seems to know some stuff. That's why he's like a little bit smarter than Ted.
right? But let me finish the movie and then you could get into your things or come in when we talk about the
Okay.
princesses. So back at home, Bill and Ted are still playing poorly at home in the garage. I guess we're to assume that Ted is not going to military school because he passed his oral report. So they're back at home practicing their music in the garage. Rufus shows up to see how they're doing. He has also brought the princesses with him. He has cleaned them up with new clothes and gets them credit cards. Jonathan, what do you want to say about the princesses?
Okay. So about the princesses. All right. So Rufus brought these princesses, and by the way, these princesses are Princess Elizabeth and Princess Joanna.
Okay.
It's not to say this is not Queen. This is not the
Which queen would it
princess.
be?
This is not the
Queen?
princess. This is not the Princess Elizabeth that ends up being Queen Elizabeth the First, right? Some of you may know who that is. That would be a big deal taking her out of history. But even if it's not the Princess Elizabeth that ends up being Queen Elizabeth the First, we still are thinking about these two women. Their whole family lineage just got destroyed. Whatever family they had, they had in if they weren't taken
They
from
need
history,
to be
it's
with the
completely
great
gone.
ones, Jonathan.
That family tree is completely obliterated. And
Just in case destroyed wasn't enough, obliterated.
obliterated. And also, I don't care if they brought all the historical figures back to their timeline, to what their resolve was, to their final deaths, because their whole interaction of what they went through in the future had to have changed any decision making or any mindset, or just have some type of butterfly effect, right?
Right.
So the present day should look very different now.
Jonathan wants Back to the Future.
The the pre-
Jonathan wants the butterfly effect.
the present day,
Jonathan
right?
wants all these more serious, well thought out movies
The
for
present
Bill and
day
Ted.
and future should be altered. But this is also the argument of
Right.
what really happens if you change something in the past. Will it create another timeline when we think about Marvel? I know I'm going a little too crazy with this, but it's still things that I think about.
You think about a lot. He also told me that, ill, why would you want the princesses to come back to you? They probably have so many different diseases. And I was like, you think Rufus brought dirty girls to the great ones? He
Yeah,
got them
maybe
to
maybe
the
just maybe
doctor.
he gave him a whole bunch of vaccines and he's like, here, let's make sure you don't kill our heroes.
Right, exactly. I believe that Rufus did that, all right? So anyway, Rufus wants Bill and Ted to sign something for him. Like that's all the repayment he wants. He just wants them to give him their autograph for his kids. He explains that their music will eventually be the foundation of society, which Jonathan also loved this note. Bill and Ted can't believe it because they suck so bad. Like, how could our music be the foundation of society?
Right.
Rufus tells them that if they had separated, it would be disastrous his his timeline. Their music stops wars and hunger and aligns with planets and sustains all forms of life. He also lets them know that the ladies are also in the band somehow. They also do not know how to play instruments.
I'm pretty sure he also mentions that they actually make contact with aliens.
Oh yes, yes.
So like this is why I said in the beginning of the movie, like this possibly is not Earth at this moment. They're probably somewhere else.
They said it's San Dimas.
Oh, they did say
They
San
say it's
Dimas.
San Dimas
Okay,
right at the
all
beginning of
right,
the movie.
all right.
So Jonathan needs to pay attention. So Rufus also brings Bill and Ted new guitars. Rufus wants to jam with them and starts playing, and he's actually good. Obviously, this is not George Carlin playing. I saw a fact about
Oh yeah,
someone else.
right.
But the Wild Stallions start playing as well, and they suck. But Ted declares that this has been a most excellent adventure. Rufus breaks the fourth wall and asks us, the audience, did you get better? And then the movie ends.
All right. So the other thing too, right?
Jesus.
So a lot of people feel like if you were to see what you end up how you end up in the future will also interrupt your development from where you are in the present day. So that also should have changed Bill and Ted's future, knowing that they would be heroes.
All
If
right.
they know they're gonna be heroes, that either will give them super stressed out, or they would have overconfidence where they don't really get to where they need to be those musicians that their future people need them to be.
Gotcha. Thank you for the analysis, Jonathan. I was like, what is missing about my rewatch of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? And I was like, it is an in-depth analysis by Professor Jonathan Manzano. All right, so let's get into final thoughts. So, John, please, you've already done a lot, but will you please let me know how you rate this film's rewatchability, character development, plot, and entertainment factor out of 5 most triumphant stars?
Like I definitely had a different experience watching it this time around
Oh my god.
because I'm pretty sure the last time I seen this movie was when I was possibly like
No,
maybe
we watched it recently. Yeah.
I don't remember then.
Why would we only watch Focus Journey? We definitely watched all 3 of these recently. But go
Hmm.
ahead.
Recently, I don't know. Well, whatever. In this time, I probably did think about this before, but anyways, my review. Rewatchability. I give it a 3. Although it's very stupid, it had many plot holes. It is definitely it's definitely rewatchable, and I'm not gonna completely, you know, throw it in the trash. I could definitely watch this movie. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Character development, I'll give it a 2. Uh, honestly, they don't really grow that much in my mind, but they did enough to know that they need to pass, they need to stay together, and they successfully give a report that saves the future, right? Saves the world, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's some type of character development. So two is enough because honestly, other than that, they're still the same Bill and Ted.
All right.
Okay, plot and originality. So man, uh, it's original, but
It's
the plot
original.
it's definitely original. But the plot is like I've been complaining through this overview. It's all over the place. It's there's just too many questions for me to give it a high score. I give it a three, and the entertainment factor again, still like rewatchability a three. It's still good enough for you to want to watch it, but I know that it's not the best movie. So my final score is 2.75 out of 5. Most triumphant stars.
All right, rewatchability, I give it a 4. I watched this movie so much as a teen that I think I wore it out and really never need to watch it again. But I will always love it. um, Character development, maybe another 10 years from now. Character development, I gave it a 1. Bill and Ted are not characters meant to develop within this movie. I guess they learn more about history by the end. And ultimately, they will become the greatest musicians of all time and save the world, but that does not happen in this movie. Script, well, plot, script, and story development, I gave it a 3. Look, the script is silly, but it's fun. I think there is something to be said for making a dumbass storyline work. That is a skill. The script made these characters lovable and unforgettable. They came out with a movie in 2020. That's a big deal. Like two different sequels.
True.
Um, Entertainment factors of 5. This movie moves quickly and makes you laugh. The way they speak and move through the world like unassuming innocent teens makes you want to be their friend and go on this adventure with them. Final score is 3.3 out of 5 most triumphant stars.
All right.
Last but not least, we're going to leave you with a segment called DVD Extras. We're going to tell you which movies you should watch after watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I say you have to watch the sequels and see where Bill and Ted go from here. Who knew there was enough material for them to go on a bogus journey and Face the Music almost 31 years after the first film came out? You should definitely check out those
Oh
movies.
man. You don't have to watch Face the Music. But
Oh, was it that bad? It was
I don't
fine.
even
I didn't
remember it.
hate
I
it.
maybe I have to rewatch it.
Yeah,
I've
it's
only
not
watched it
memorable.
once.
It's not memorable.
But Bogus Journey, I definitely enjoy Bogus Journey better than Part One.
Wow,
I, I
Jonathan.
like I
That
like
is the most heinous.
I just like Bogus Journey a little better because I just feel like there's more that's happening and it's just
That's true.
it goes more into the life of Bill and Ted.
All
You
right,
get to know them in a more deeper way.
that's true. I do agree with that. Bogus Journey is definitely a well thought out script. They really did think about where Bill and Ted would be now and how they would get there. So, Face the Music, though, I felt it was fine, just not memorable. But I think that's pretty awesome that Keanu and Alex Winter came back and did this 31 years later. It gave us something. You know what, Jonathan? Automatic 5 stars because Face the Music gave us something to look forward to. It was fucking 2020.
All right, yeah,
All
sure.
right, we were excited to see this
Uh,
movie. Like it was
back
2020, we were in despair.
back to Bogus
So
Journey.
thank you,
You
Keanu
know
and
what Bogus
Alex.
Journey had that Excellent didn't have? It had cause and effect.
All right, Jonathan, stop shitting on this
Okay, so
movie. All right.
all right, so my recommendation,
Oh, you didn't do it.
right?
Sorry.
My recommendation would be another ridiculous movie that is still fun to watch, Encino Man.
I do
And
like
it's
Encino Man.
it stars one of our most favorite actors, Brandon Fraser. So it's honestly that's all I have to say. It's a Brandon Fraser movie. Watch it. Encino Man is still a fun watch. Not a great movie, but it's a fun watch.
It has more cause and effect, though.
It does.
Okay. All right, we made it to the credit sequence. Thank you so much for listening to the 45th episode of Two Tickets, One Theme. Follow us on our Instagram page at Two Tickets, One Theme. You can follow Jonathan at jmanzano1989. And you can follow me at Tiani WA. That's how old Jonathan is. He was born when this movie came out. Please
Whatever.
follow and rate our podcast on Apple and Spotify. Also, don't forget that we are now on YouTube, so stay tuned for the link to the video version of our podcast. Thank you, and see you for the next adventurous episode.
Peace out.
There's no song to sing for this one. I don't know the dumb 80s songs that are in this movie. Uh, well, be excellent to each other and
Are we still doing this?
be excellent to each other and
I don't remember.
party on,
Party
Jonathan.
on, dudes.
He is one of the most heinous co-hosts that you could ever have.
Oh, dude.